Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After our last mission in B-17 Flying Fortress Leader for Sundays, we're headed back. We're actually still in World War II Europe, but this time we are moving significantly further east as we are playing Stalingrad Advance to the Volga by Revolution Games. Our goal in this game, as you might think, it is to take control of Stalingrad. So that's what we're going to be trying to do here. We are in control of the German 6th Army, I believe. I've just got my notes here. Yes. So that is our goal, and we've got all of our starting units all set up here along the perimeter of the board. Actually, we've got... yeah, looks like we've got all of our armor, probably infantry. Yep, okay. So with that, I think we're all set to jump into this one. So it's going to be very rough, at least the first couple of turns. So we'll see how this goes. And I'm actually going to grab an arrow, one of my arrow tokens that I use, because there is a sequence of play on the board, which I really like when games do that, especially since I can put an arrow right on the phase and be like, okay, we're on this phase. And one gripe I will say I've got coming into the game already is the dice are very small, as you can see. They're the 12mm dice. But I do have plenty of bigger dice that I can swap in, assuming I end up liking this game. But we'll find out how that goes. So, let's jump into this one during the dawn phase. Let's see, we're in effect during turn 1. So treat the following as no result. Okay, we've got a couple of, here we go, optional rules are going to be used. So we have so on the random event phase, once we get there, we won't have we'll have a few things as being no result. Let's see. Okay, so we've got the morale, we've got actually everything's at full strength to start the game. So turn track, we don't have any reinforcements to worry about. We do go into the random event phase, so we'll be rolling 3d6. We don't have any reinforcement or withdrawal to worry about. So we've got our 3d6, and we'll roll those on the random event chart. And what we're treating as no result for turn 1, I just had it bookmarked. We are treating 64th Army Breakthrough, 66th Army Breakthrough, and logistical pause as no result. Let's see, that's an 8. So logistical pause. We're treating that as no result for turn 1. And I believe that was it for that phase. Then we get the supply, then we go into the supply phase. So this is where we get supply points equal to, we roll 4d6 for German supply. So yeah. So we'll roll for 4d6 for how many supply points we get. Okay. There's a supply marker on indicating there are 4 supply points saved. So it looks like we've got... so that probably means we've got 10 supply points saved. So we're rolling 4d6 to add them, if I'm understanding this correctly. That's what I'm getting there. So we've got a 10 plus another 11, so we've got 21 supply points to spend. So we've got 21 supply points to spend, assuming I'm reading all of that correctly. So now we can expend it to purchase support markers. We can either spend these to purchase support markers, return units in the out of action box to play, or increase German morale. So we've got 21 points to play with. I think we're going to go I'm gonna grab a dial here so I can track. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna grab a dial so I can track my supply points a little bit better. So 21 supply points. Let's see what I want to do with those. I can buy support units back. I can buy artillery for 1+1 to a German attack value. Engineer is 2 and cancels rubble. 3 is -1d6 from a Soviet defense. Or I can return an infantry or an armor to play, or increase German morale by 1. Well, morale right now is as high as it can go, so I'm not worried about that. Let's see, I think I am going to grab 3 air support, so we'll start off with that. So that's going to take me down to 12 support points. Let's see, then we'll go 3 artillery, so down to 9. We don't have any units out of play that we do have a few units that are out of play that we're returning. Let's see, what do we want to do here? Let's go another 4 from 4 more artillery. So that'll bring me down to 5. Or down to 5. Then I'll pick up 2 engineers and go down to 1 supply point. So that means we will put the supply on 0 and supply on 1. So we've got 1 supply point that we're saving. And now, so unspent supply gets saved. Okay, so we're into the combat phase, and we'll be starting by rolling, what is it? 1d6 for each contested area on bloody streets, but I don't think we have anything contested right now to start the game. So, now on that, now we go into the combat phase. So here's where we start moving. Here's where we start moving our units. So which one we're designating to be the active area? We will let's see, bloody streets, we didn't have anything there. So we're going to designate an active area. It's going to be 4 movement points to enter an area with an unrevealed Soviet an unrevealed Soviet unit. So we're going to start off by spending 4 supply points, or 4 movement points, to make the hospital the active area, and we're going to move all 4 of these units in. Everything can move in because there's an unrevealed Soviet unit here. So I'm going to grab another marker. What do I want to grab to designate the active area? Where's the Cthulhu coin I normally use for that purpose? It looks like, it's over here. Some of these areas are going to be fairly sizable, but we can probably make it work, so we'll designate this hospital as the active area. So, and conducts a mandatory attack. So the mandatory attack says, okay, it results in a repulse. So now I want to see how this works. So we're going to designate our lead attacking unit, which we probably want to use armor. So we'll use the 244th Panzer Division there. We'll designate that as our leading artillery. So then we'll place... Now we've got a lot of firepower coming in here, so I'm going to place an artillery support in... The artillery support is +1 to 1 German attack value. I'll designate that with the 71 to 11 infantry. Is there anything else I want to place there? No, that should be fine. So, that's, okay, optional. So mandatory attack. which is what we're doing there. We've got a contested area. We're not dealing with that yet. And then we reveal the Soviet unit. So we've got a clear unit in here. So let's see what we find. We find, bring this into zoom in. Is it going to focus for me? There we are. We've got a barrage. Let's see, the barrage. German player must either place one of the attacking units in the out of action box prior to combat resolution, or flip all attacking units, spent and retreat. So basically that would mean that, yeah, that would mean we would have to retreat everything. So I'm going to put one of my infantry, I'm going to put the 71-194 in the out of action. So that's how we're going to do that. Tabulate the final attack value and defense value. So the attack value is equal to the sum of the lead unit, which I designated as the 244th, that'll be 4, plus 1 for each additional unit, so 5, 6, 7. And then we put an artillery in there, 8 and 9, plus 1 divisional integrity bonus if the attack includes at least 3 units from the same division. It does not. And actually, by moving the infantry off, well, I was going to be screwed on that anyway. So what did we say? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because the German morale is 10 or higher. The defense factor for the unit is going to be 5 for the barrage, plus 1 is 6. Plus 1 is 6. So that's our defense. Computing results. So now we roll for... now I think we roll our dice and compare the results. So roll 2d6 for each side. I'll roll black for the Germans, red for the Soviets. So we're starting off with... Let me think how I want to do this. Because I'm going to need something to help me keep these straight, and I think I know what I want. So bear with me just a second. Opening closet door. I'm going to be closing the closet door in a minute, but first I want to grab out what I'm looking for here. Okay. Found what I wanted. Closing closet door. What I was looking for was 2D percentile dice, so I can basically record the values that we're starting at, because presumably I'll be rolling these dice, and then I'll be rolling the 2Ds, the combat dice, and then adding them to these results. So let me retabulate everything here. So our 244th A Panzer Division was our lead unit, so 4, 5, 6 for the other 2 units participating in the attack. Then we've got an artillery support of 7, 8, and 9 because the morale is 10 or higher. So we've got so actually I don't need the D100 yet. So we've got a 9 starting for the Germans, that'll be in black. Then for the Soviets, and the Soviets compute their dice on a 5 on the barrage, plus 1 being in the clear space is 6. So that's where we're starting with. Yep. So now we've got a +3 advantage for the Germans. Let's see how this roll goes. First, I'm going to make sure that I've got my stream selected there, so it looks like we're good to go here. Depends on between the attack total and the defense total. Okay, so we came in advantaged +3, so 9 plus 7 is 16, and then 6 plus 6 is 12. So because the attack total is greater than the defense total, the German stack has achieved a success. The Soviet unit is eliminated and removed from the map. So the barrage, I was about to say mirage, gets moved over here. We'll move the air artillery support to the used support. Presumably these should be in available support. And then the Soviet unit gets removed from the map. I'll flip all attacking units. Presumably these can be returned to the box when I'm done with them. So I'm just going to start returning them to the box, and we'll get a German-controlled marker for the hospital. Everything will flip over to their spent side. And I can get these dice out of the way. And that seems like it's going to be the resolution of a combat phase. So, I think with that in mind, our next active area is going to be... do we put control markers down for the areas that we started in? We probably do, I would think. Place, in the used support. Oh, I see how it goes. So if they've been used... So we put anything that is available, that we bought probably down here in available support units. That would make more sense. Right. Costs are listed. Yeah, that's probably how that would make sense. So the next area we're going to make active is Hill... We're next going to make Hill 98.9 active. We'll bring everything in. And we do have units that are part of the same division. So we're making Hill 98.9 active. We've got an elevated unit here. So let's see what we find here. For the Soviets, we find heroes here. Let's see what the heroes do. Reduce German morale by 1 after combat resolution. Apply even if the Soviet unit was eliminated. Ignore if the combat result was a repulse or an overrun. And that's only going to be true if the attack is a success and the difference is greater than the defense strength. So we've got 5 plus 2 is 7 for the Soviets, so that'll be easy to calculate at least. As for the Germans, let's see. So we're going to designate the 244B as our leading unit. So we'll start off there. That will be... And what support do we want to use here? We can use a max of 4 support units is what I thought I saw. I mean, I see the number of attacking units, so we can use up to 4 here. Given the heroes there, I think I do want to throw some air support in here. Mostly because I don't want to take a morale hit this early. Then I'll throw in some artillery support as well. I've got 5 of those left, and I'm probably only making... I don't know how many more attacks I'm making this turn. But that should probably be fine. So we'll just do that. I'm probably going to need some air support when I come down and make some of these... When I make some of these attacks when I make some of these heavier urban attacks. I guess I'm a little bit out of it still because I did stay up and watch Game 7 of the World Series last night. Let's see. So as we start calculating, 5, 6, 7, 8 for the Germans. 9 because of the artillery support, right? Actually, no, 10, 11. So actually, we will throw that in with the 244B. So that'll be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 because our morale is 10 or higher. And I think we've got a +1 divisional bonus because, yep, 3 of our units are part of the same division. So we have a total of 12 to start with. So we're looking at a 12 to 7 to start with. And we get to roll a d6 because of the air support. And we get to reduce the... Because we've got German air support there, we get to roll a d6 and reduce the Soviet defense strength by that much. A 5. Holy cow. So that's a 2 that we're looking at. So we have very real potential of achieving an overrun here. I think we are all set there. So yeah. So we're looking at 12-2, and as of right now, wow, that was a big shot from the Luftwaffe. As of now, we've already got a difference of 10, so we're already greater than the hero's strength. And it will most definitely stay that way, so 12 plus 9 is 21. 2 plus the original 5 that we knocked it down is 7. So that's a difference of 14, which means we overran the heroes, so we don't have to decrease our morale by 1, which is very welcome. So I can get all of this stuff off the board. Come on. I'll get that off. These can go back to used support. And I'll grab a German-controlled marker for that hill. Okay. And our goal here is to get... Okay. And the German-controlled markers on the record track are 40 or greater. So we've got... So right now we've got 2 control markers on the board. I'm very surprised we don't count the... Or maybe we do, and that's how... I'm going to look. But we might place German control times 1 in the 9 space and the German control marker times 10. Okay, that makes a little more sense. So now the times 1 goes down to 1. The times 1 goes down to 1. Or times 10 goes down to 1. And this goes to... So we're at 12 spaces controlled on the board. I guess it is counting our the initial setup spaces that we had on the board. Let's see. So what do we want to do next? I think next we're going to make... Oh, these should also be flipped over to their spent side. Let's see. So our next space... And I think we just continue this until we run out of stuff that we want to attack with. So... Yeah. They wish to activate during the turn. Okay, so just checking here. Flip all spent units back to fresh and German morale reduced by 1. Okay, just looking ahead here. So the next area I'm going to make active, and I think this coin is probably going to be a little too big. So I'm going to grab instead these blocks are so handy. I'm going to grab a pink block so I can note which space is my active space. And I think we're going to make... do I want to send infantry into light urban? That seems like a terrible idea. Presumably I could converge a couple of... Actually, what are stacking limits in the game? Stacking 4... Okay, 4 German units in a single area. The support markers don't count. I think I am going to make an urban attack. I think we're going to go... What do I want to do here? Do I want to send that infantry, that panzer and... Send that panzer and infantry up here in Yerzovka down into Nadezhda Road. I'm going to be terrible at my Russian pronunciation, so just consider yourself warned of that right away. Do I want to send that down there? I am getting reinforcements next turn, which I could presumably put anywhere I need them. So I think here I probably just sit tight. Maybe placed in... Okay. Alright, I will go ahead and make Menina... Yeah, we'll make Menina the next active area. Here I will go, and actually these are all part of the same division, so the 29th Division, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this Menina down here is our next active zone. And I believe the actual order for this is... Okay, so designate the lead attacking unit. We're going to designate the 29th RCN. That looks like a truck division. We'll designate that as our lead attacker. So I definitely want to use air support. Here because we're looking at a +3 on Menina. So I do want to try to knock that down a little bit if I can. We'll add artillery support to the 29 RCN. And do I want to add engineer support? Yeah, we'll add some artillery support there as well. Just because we're moving into more urban areas, and I do want to make sure I've got some firepower available for that. So, now we're going to start tabulating our dice. So, 6 is our lead unit, 7, 8, 9, 10 because of 2 artillery support, 11, 12, 13, 14 because of divisional integrity, and 15 because morale is 10 or higher. So we've got a 15 there for the Germans. Plus, so now we need to figure out what the Soviets are going to be defending with there. They have another barrage, which the barrage I think we established must either place one of their units out. I think we'll bring the 29 15th out of play. So, now we start tabulating our dice. Which I already did that. So 5, 6, 7, 8 for the Soviets to start with. Okay. But we get to roll a d6 and for the air support that we've got there and knock that value down. Oop. Come here. Oop. Nope, we do want the black die. That's another 5, so we get to knock that down to 3. Air support doing wonders for us today. So we're looking at a 15 to 3 to start with. Let's see what we can get up to here. Wow, we'll just completely run through it. So 15 plus 11 is 26. 3 plus 7 is 10, which means we achieved an overrun. Not that that matters. Actually, what does an overrun do for us? Eliminated, removed from the map. Place to spent. Okay, so that was a light urban. I do have separate baggies now for the different styles of terrain. So I can pull all of my support out. I'll flip all of these to spent. And we'll put a German control marker there, along with advancing the control marker by 1. Excuse me, do I want to make one more attack here? I think the answer is... I think the answer here is going to be... Well, I'm going to move a 94th 267 up. I believe it's probably got to be one movement point to go into a vacant. Enter a vacant area adjacent to the active area is contested at the moment. Yada yada yada. Well, what I'm debating on wanting to do here is I want to send one of these infantry up to the Dubovaya woods, so I've got a little bit more support there because I might want to send some reinforcements in before I go after Hill 112.5, which I'll probably be looking to do that next turn. Just as a thought on that. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to send it to go into the South Rail Station. That seems like a very easy way to run myself into a lot of trouble. You know what we're going to do, actually? I think we're going to come up here to Ladashanka. We'll make that active, and we'll send these two. We'll send the 16th Panzer and the 1679 down into Spartakovka. Which I know is a bit of a risk, but we'll take a chance there. So I'm going to add another round of air support. Then we'll stack artillery and engineer. Actually, we can only do one of these. I'm going to put artillery with the 1679. So we'll designate the 1679 as our lead attack unit. So we've placed our support there, and now we need to figure out our dice. So 6, 7, 8, 9 is what we got to start with for the Germans. That's the Soviet tracking die. And then the Soviets get to add 3 to this. It's an ambush. Oh, joy. Eliminate the lead attacking unit after combat resolution, but ignore if the result was a repulse or an overrun. Yikes. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7 to start with. But thanks to the air support that we're putting in there, we get to reduce that by a d6 roll, and we've been rolling really well so far. And that tradition will continue, so we're down to 3. Which means as long as we win this by at least 4, which right now we are, we will get another overrun. Which I think we'd still win it by at least 4. So 9 plus 5 is 14, 3 plus 4 is 7, so we do achieve an overrun, which means the ambush comes off the map. So that's another light urban chit that can go back to the box. We'll get a control marker there. Increase that. These two move back to used support. And these flip over to spent. And I think we're going to go to... Do I want to make one more attack here? I think the answer is yes, I do. So I'm going to go over to Yerzovka and make another attack there. So we'll send these to 60 RCN and 60 120 down here to Nadeza Road. We'll designate the 60 RCN, our truck division, as our lead unit, and we'll throw in artillery and engineer support behind that. So we'll start off with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as our starting attack value there. Here's my tens digit. And then we have a 3 plus 8. Uh-oh, that's an 11. So an ambush is... Okay, so let's eliminate the lead attacking unit, which means we need to hope for a really good roll because I wasn't able to provide any air support on this attack. So what did we say that was? And I think this is going to end badly for us. So that's an 11 to start with for the Soviets. And yeah, it got even worse. So 10 plus 4 is 14. 11 plus 10 is 21, which is not quite enough. But so if the attack has been repulsed and there's no effect on the Soviet unit, so the lead attacking unit is eliminated and placed in the out-of-action box. Retreat is required in case of a failed mandatory attack. So yeah, we are eliminating that. Does that go to out of action, or is that just completely out of the game? Let's see. Lead attacking units is eliminated and placed in the out of action. Okay, so the 61/20th has to retreat, and it's considered spent. These are considered used as well. So that was not good. Are there any other attacks I want to make this turn? I think after that attack went so haywire, I think the answer is going to be no. So we'll go into the end phase, and the end phase says automatic victory check, which we don't have. I also need to reduce German morale by 1 because of the failed attack. So we flip everything back over to the fresh side. Right, these flip over as well. Then we reduce morale by 1. And we go into turn 2, which means we get some reinforcements. And that's how we start with the reinforcement phase. So we've got 3 infantry divisions from the 389th, along with a panzer division from the 245th. So, So I think with that in mind, these go to, on turn 2, the 389th Division unit and 245A assault gun may be placed on Area 1 or Area 2. So one of these two. And I think I'm going to put them on Area 1 with the plan of starting to work our way north and join up with the 60th up here to try to give us a little bit of help. All right, and on that note, I think we are rolling for... Actually, we've got to do random event first. You know, I've got my chart for random event here somewhere right here. 3d6. All right, that's a 10, which this time is commissars. Increase Soviet defense values by 1 for this turn. Gross. So the commissars are out fortifying the... Commissars are fortifying the Soviets this turn. That's problematic. Let's see, what to do. Well, now we have to roll for supply. So that was our random event phase. Now we go for supply. We had 1 supply point that we saved from last turn. Wow, that was a good roll. So 1 plus, what is that, 12, 21. So we've got 22 supply points for the turn. What do we want to do with those? Well, I think return an infantry unit to play. Do we want to start bringing some of our firepower back? And I think the answer to that is yes. So we've got 20, so as I mentioned, we've got 22 supply points to work with here. So, 22 supply points. I definitely want to bring back some of these units. I just need to figure out how much I need to spend. Looks like there's going to be a total of 4 supply points to bring them all back. We're probably going to need all the firepower we can get here. So that'll go to 18 supply points. And where do I want to put these? Let's see, the 60th can go rejoin his comrades. Actually, he can go rejoin his infantry comrades up in, what zone is that? Your Zovka. Then the 29th. Then the 29th infantry can come down to Menina. And the 71st can rejoin his comrades at the hospital. Okay. So that was supply phase. Well, no, that's not supply phase yet. We can get these dice off the board. And I think we're probably making some urban attacks this turn. So, So I think keeping that in mind, with 18 supply points left to work with here, I definitely need to get some air support markers if I think I'm making any kind of urban attacks this turn. So those are going to cost me 3 supply points each, which will probably be an easy 9 supply points. Down to 9 on that. Then, do I want more support? Well, we're not just in danger of losing due to morale, so I'm not too worried about that yet. But I will grab some more support, especially if I know we've got some urban attacks coming up this turn. So let's go with 3 more. Let's go with 3. Let's go with 2 artillery for total of 2 supply points, which will bring me down to 7, and 2 engineer supports. That'll bring me down to 3. Assuming I can hold on to that. So that'll bring me down to 3 supply points, and I think that is where we'll call that a supply phase. So now into the combat phase. Actually, I'm going to grab a quick drink of my Crystal Light while I ponder the map. Let's see. Looking at the map, what do we want to do here? Well, I think we'll make Menina our first active area. We'll send everything into the sawmill. Hopefully we're not sending everything into a buzzsaw, but we'll find out about that soon enough. And here, actually, at the start of the combat phase, I don't think we had any contested, because I think we had everybody stuck there. It contained units of both sides. Okay, so, yeah, we didn't have any contested units to start the turn with. So, first thing we need to do is flip over the light urban unit we've got here. We've also got a +3 defense. We're facing another barrage. So the barrage said we had to place one of the attacking units in the out of action prior to combat resolution, or flip all attacking units spent and retreat. I'm going to take the infantry back out because it'll be cheaper to bring them back. And then we place support, so I've got 3 units there. So we'll start off with another air support, and I'll put engineer and artillery support behind the 29 RCN. Okay. So, come here. So as we total everything up, we've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 because of the infantry, because of the divisional integrity, and 14 because morale is 10 or higher. So that's a total of 14. Oop. Wrong dice, Phoenix. 14, and the Soviets have 6 plus 3 is 9, minus a d6 roll, which is coming momentarily. Here's my d6 roll. That's a 2, so that'll knock it down to 7. So we're starting at a +7 differential advantage. Actually, we're starting at a +6 differential advantage because the commissars are out and active for the Soviets this turn. I almost forgot about that. And wow, did that matter. 14 plus 4 is 18. And 7 plus 12 is 19 So we actually failed that attack, despite our best efforts. Those get used. This is our lead unit. He gets eliminated. The barrage stays, and both of these retreat back and land on their spent side. Also decreases morale by 1. Yuck. Yowza, that kind of sucks. So now we're going to spend at least 3 supply points if we want to bring everything back. Fortunately, we've got 3 banked. But, well, I definitely want to start working our way north so we can meet up with some of these other units and get into some stronger attacks. So I'm going to make Hill 126.3 our next active area as Troy is tuning in. I'll talk a little bit more about what I think about the game so far after this attack, Troy. I want to talk through it, and then when I'm looking over the map, I'll talk a little bit more about what I think so far. So I'll move 1, 2, 3, 4 units in. That is Gorodische. And I'll also apologize in advance. My Russian pronunciation is likely to be horrendous. So we'll start off by designating a lead attacking unit. We'll make the 245A our lead attacker. Okay. And we don't have any contested areas. So attacks are resolved by comparing the attack value, yada, yada, yada. So we designated that. We've got a +3 to whatever we find on here for the Soviet light urban. It's another ambush. Gross. Eliminate the lead attacking unit after combat resolution. Ignore that if we get an overrun or a repulse. Ick. So now we get to set up our supports. I definitely want air support on this one because we are going to be... That's actually a 12 defense that we're starting at. I definitely want air support to knock that down. We'll go engineer support here. Artillery here. And one more. Do I want one more? Yeah, I might as well go one more. Since I'm only I only have the support markers to most likely make one more attack this turn. And I've only got 2 units. I've only got pairs of units that I can use for that. So yeah, we'll throw in engineer support as well. We'll throw in another engineer support. So we're looking at a 12 already. 13, I keep forgetting that the commissars are out for the Soviets this turn. Whereas we are starting with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then the +1 gets canceled out by a -1. Actually, +1 for divisional integrity. So what did we say? 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 for divisional integrity, 15 because morale is still 10 or higher. I don't know how long that's going to last, though. So we're looking at a 15 to a 13, but we also get to reduce the defense strength by a d6. So hopefully we roll high. 3 is a little bit lower than I wanted, but it's not nothing. The only problem is now it makes it harder for us to survive the ambush. I need one more red d6. Okay, so let's see what we get for a roll here. I'll pull that out, and yeah, looks like we're losing our lead unit. So we've got a 15 plus 5 is 20, 10 plus 4 is 14. So we do survive the attack, but we don't get an overrun. So the Soviet unit comes off the board. Unfortunately, the 245A, which is our lead unit, also comes off the board. These all flip to spent. The air support comes off the board. And we return the light urban attack the light urban defender to the box. So my initial thoughts on the game is I'm not quite 2 turns in. I'm actually enjoying this one so far, but man, it seems like I think I was expecting it to be a little bit quicker than it's turning out to be. Hex Encounter usually scares the ever-living hell out of me. This one isn't too bad, if maybe a touch on the long side. But otherwise, I'm enjoying the narrative aspect that's coming out from the random event chart. Like, for instance, well, again, this turn, obviously I'm having to work around the commissars that are out. And so, yeah, I'm rambling that I enjoy it so far. Let's see. What do I want to do here? I think here I wanted to make one more attack this turn. Oh, right. These 2 should be spent as well. Right. Well, the question is, do I want to attack again and risk another morale loss, or we do need to increase our control marker, by the way. What area did we just take control of? Gorodische. Okay, so... What do we want to do here? Do we want to make another attack? I think the answer to that is probably... That would be 2 units going into a heavy urban. I definitely want to get some stronger firepower up there before I go anywhere near coming down to Dzerzhinsky Tractor Factory. And like I said, my Russian pronunciation is terrible, but I don't seem to be doing too badly with it. So I think I'm going to pass on further attacks. So we'll go into the end phase, no automatic victory, obviously. We decrease German morale by 1, flip everything back over to fresh. And now we start turn 3. Things are not going well for us at all. We didn't have any reinforcements, and I don't think we have a withdrawal this turn. No, 1 mandatory withdrawal. So during the random event, we're making another 3d6 roll. And let's see what we get here. A 12. Once again, the commissars are out again. That's delightful. So that's where it was our random event. Now we roll for supply. We've got 3 supply points saved over from our last turn. So 3 plus another 13 is going to be 16 supply points. So what do we want to do with these? I would need to spend 5 supply points to bring everything back. Which I think we'll have to do. So 5 supply points will bring everything back. These... So when we buy units back... What did we say? We can place them anywhere, I believe. At least one other German unit. Okay, so 245. Actually, if we send him up, if we send one of these up to... I guess the question is, where do I think I'm attacking this turn? Where do I think I'm attacking, and where have I not hit stacking limits yet? Let's go... The 29 RCN back down here so we can try going at the southern rail station. We'll do that with the 2972 as well. Then the 245. Yeah, we'll go up to Spartakovka, so I can try going into the Dzerzhinsky tractor factory. I think if I've got that in my head this turn, well, I've got a unit of air support that I can use for that. Question is, do I want a second one for that? Yes, I think I do want a second air support. Question is, do I think I'm going to need 2 getting in there? So that's another 3 supply points. That's down to 12. Oop, wrong way. So actually supply is down to, from 11, that goes down to 8. Let's go for another air support. I'm thinking I'm going to have the 295 division down here, maybe make some advances. Actually, do I want them to... I might want them to try to join up with some of these other forces, actually. Because I want to start trying to get some of my groups together a little bit. Let's go for... let's take 2 more artillery. Yeah, we'll take 2 more artillery, go down to 3, and I think that's where we'll sit for the turn. So now into the combat phase. Well, since I was planning on doing this one first, let's go to Spartakovka. We'll make that our first attack. So we'll go into the Dzerzhinsky tractor factory. We'll see what we've got here. We have another ambush, so we're losing our lead unit after the attack unless we get an overrun or a repulse. Well, now I think we are going to... Holy crap, that's a 13? That's going to be a 13 to start with. So I think we're going to plan on trying to, with an ambush... Actually, that's a 14 to start with because the commissars are out again. Eliminate the lead attacking unit. Do I want to use 2 air support here? That's a good question. Because if I'm going to have to try to preserve the... If I'm going to try to preserve the... If I'm going to try to preserve my lead unit there, I think I'm going to have to get a big difference here. So yeah, I think I am going to use 2 air support, and I'll throw some artillery in there as well. So as I mentioned, the Soviets are starting with a 14, minus the results of 2d6 rolls, since I've got 2 air support in there. Then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is all I get there. So let's hope... Actually, I didn't realize it was going to be that disadvantaged. So now we've got 2d6 rolls to try to weaken the ambush. Okay, I don't completely hate that. So that's a 10 gone, so now it's down to a defense strength of a 4. So now if we win this by at least 9, we survive the ambush. We don't lose our lead unit. Which I don't think that will get it done. So 10 plus 7 is 17. 4 plus 8 is 12, so we do survive so we do clear the area, we do take control of it, but we lose our lead unit. I'll get a control marker. Unfortunately, that also took me 2 air support markers to pull that off. So I probably only have enough for 1 more attack this turn. So I better make this one count, I guess is what I'm kind of saying here. Well, let's make Hill 98.9 our next active area. I'll send everything in there into the silicate factory. I want to try to join some of these forces up. So we've got a +3 defense there, +1 for the commissars, which means we're starting off for the Soviets. With another ambush. That's only a 5 strength ambush, though. So our lead unit is, of course, going to be the 244, and I'm going to throw everything else I've got for support into this attack, including another air support. So we are starting off with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 for a starting German strength. The extra D100s I'm using, of course, don't come with the game. The Soviets are looking at a 5, 8, 9 because they've got the commissars out. We'll roll for the D6. Hopefully we can weaken them significantly. That's a 2. That's, well, it's 2, so it's not bad. We do need to survive this by at least... We do need to win this by at least 5, though, or we're going to lose another lead unit. And we might not have even passed it, but we'll find out. 14 plus 7 is 21. 11 plus 7 is 18 for the Soviets. So actually we do survive it, but we lose our lead unit. That's problematic. These are all spent. Okay. Yikes. And now I've got no support to make further attacks. So anything I do here is going to be on its own. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Okay, so let's go. Oh, now it's another control marker up there at the silicate factory. So we're down to we're at 16. We need to get to 40 to win this game. So I think with that in mind, we are going to... Let's see if we can put the... Can we have units move more than once? Activate areas on the map containing to move and or attack. Okay, so I think what we're going to do here is I'm going to start moving the... So yeah, I think we're going to have to make some unsupported attacks here. So we're going to make the hospital our next active area. We're going to move these units all into Stalingrad. So we've got a 2 plus a fanatic. So that's going to be a total of 8 fanatics. If the combat result is a success, it's changed to a stalemate. Ignore if the combat result was a repulse, stalemate, or overrun. So he's got an 8 to start with. 5 plus 2 for the bonus defense, plus another 1 because the commissars are out. We'll use the 244A, so 4, 5, 6, 7. Unfortunately, we're hoping for a very high die roll here. So we need to get an over. We're hoping for a high roll for us and a low roll for them. So we can get an overrun and ignore the fanatic. Which, that's not going to work for us. To borrow a line from Hulk Hogan, that don't work for me, brother. 9 plus 8 is 17. 7 plus 8 is 15, so the attack gets repulsed. Actually, the attack was a failure at any rate. I don't think we get repulsed, but... Oh, no. We do get repulsed. So we lose our lead unit and decrease morale by 1. Yikes. I will say, too, I do like how this game is evoking the tension of trying to go into Stalingrad, and I think more than ever, I'm starting to figure out now why Hitler was a total idiot going after the Soviets during World War II. His hand was forced. His hand was definitely forced if you go back in history and look at what happened. But yeah, Hitler was a total idiot going after the Soviets especially before the British had capitulated. I think if he would have waited, took Britain out, and then turned eastward, he probably would have had a lot better result. But yeah. Of course, I'm not exactly one to talk because I'm not doing much better than he was at the moment. And he would be, I guarantee you if he was looking at this game and watching how I'm managing this attack in Stalingrad, he probably would have had me shot, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I think that's one of my big things with wargaming is I've always been a little bit more on the cautious side, where I'm not tending to press the attack. But the problem is I'm looking at this map and I'm like, okay, where do I press the attack? And actually I didn't realize that as we started getting adjacent to the Volga here, this should have been a +1, but I think we won that by enough anyway. Gross. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to bite the bullet here and start making what would be considered some very stupid attacks. No, we're actually not going to do that. So we are going to call it a turn there. End phase, we haven't scored a victory, so we decrease morale. Flip everything over. And we go to turn 4. Yikes. Well, I will definitely say that this is not going to be weeknight content at all. So we've got the draw phase, or the dawn phase, I should say. No withdrawals, I advanced to turn 4 already. Random events, can we please not have the commissars this time? Commissars again. Oy vey. Supply phase, we have three supply points that we're carrying over. We probably need at least 6 of them to get these units active again. Which we get 9, 10, 11, so we're up to 15 supply points. 9 of which will go straight away into bringing these back to the board. Let's see, he will go back with his comrades up here. 244. We're probably going to go up here with that. Actually, can that go there? I think we established that yes, it can. The beginning, yeah, that can go there. Actually, the 16th PZ that we just brought back, I think it was 79, that's got to go up here. Right. May only be placed in their setup areas, yes. Okay, so these 244s, these 2 armor vehicles, can go into German-controlled areas. I'm going to bring them down here. I'm going to bring one down to the 244B down to the Tsaritsa Woods, and I'm going to bring the other one to the Dubovaya Woods. So we're down to we're down to 9 supply points. Ugh. Jeez. I think we're going to have to do some aerial attacking this time, so we're going to I'm going to clean myself out of supply points and get 3 air supports. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and make... let's make Tsaritsa Woods active. We'll move these three into Tsaritsa City. And we're looking at a +4 here, +3 for the defense bonus, +1 for the commissars. And we've got heroes out. Heroes say... Alright, reduce German morale by 1 after combat resolution. Applies even if the Soviet unit was eliminated. Ignore for repulse or an overrun. So we are going to be starting to face all kinds of problems here, but I'm going to throw some air support in. 7, 8, 9 is what we start with for the Germans, and 13 for the Soviets to start with. So we need to be hoping for a big roll on our D6 for the air support. We'll re-roll the 6, because of course we will. That's a 3, which is not nothing. It brings us down 1, but I don't like our chances of getting through this one. So let's see what happens here. Wow. So 3's on both sides, which means we end up at the same place, +3. 12 for us. I forgot to designate I think I designated the 24th RCN. So everything retreats. They're spent, and German morale decreases by 1. Yikes. Well, this is not going well. We'll go to the Dubovaya Woods next, moving into Hill 112.5. And then we've got a 3 plus a Fanatic. Fanatic says... Once I find it here. Fanatic says if the combat is a success, change it to a stalemate, ignore if an overrun. We'll put air support in there. And then we'll roll a d6. So let's go 6, 7, 8, 9 is all we get because of morale. And then Fanatic 9, 10. So let's hope for a big roll on our air support. A 1 is not a big roll. So that brings us down to 9, which does bring us into a tie, but I was hoping it was going to be a lot more than that. So a success changes to a stalemate. Unless we get an overrun somehow, which... we will not get an overrun because that'll end up in a stalemate. And a stalemate, I think that's the first time we've ever had that happen. No effect on the Soviet unit. All attacking units are flipped to their spent side. Delightful. The air support goes away as well. That's not going well at all. I think we're going to make Yerzovka active. We'll send these two down to Orlovka, try to bypass the ambush here. So we've got 4 plus whatever this marker is. Come on. Heroes. Heroes with a strength of 5 say... reduce German morale by 1 after combat resolution. So we don't... I don't think we reduce morale by 1 for... the stalemate? No. Okay, so that's a 5, 8, 9 for the Soviets. 5, 6, 7, and I'm going to put air support in for the Germans. We'll roll a d6. Actually, this was the light urban. I think this was something that was destroyed earlier. So we can return that to the box. And then we'll roll for our air support. Once again, I'm hoping for a big roll. Okay, that's a little more like what I had in mind last time, so that will bring that down to a 3. And I think, what did we say for heroes? Right, reduce German morale by 1. Which actually 5, 6, yeah, I did count the German morale, so 7. Let's see what we get here. So we're starting up 4. Let's see, 13 for us to 7 for them, and we did get it. We did get an overrun. So yeah. Okay. Does that cancel heroes out? Yes, it does cancel heroes, actually. So yeah. That will cancel that, which means we don't decrease morale by 1, but this goes off the map. That flips over. And then this can go back to the light urban baggie. We'll get a control marker for up there, and we'll increase control to 17. I don't think we're going to make it to 40 at this point. So that was the combat phase. And I think that's where we're going to call it an end phase for the turn. So now into the dawn phase, which advances the turn marker to turn 5. Random event phase. Can we stop with the commissars, please? Give us something different. Let's see, 12. Commissars again. Joy, joy. Okay. Supply phase. We don't have any supply points, so I'm hoping for a big roll here. $10, 14 supply points. That's not just nothing, it's mostly nothing. Well, considering I need 3 points to bring back the 24 RCN again, so I'm up to 11. I'll put them... Actually, I forgot to flip everything over and decrease morale. So now morale, I need to keep an eye on my morale at this point. This will go... Yep, that comes off of here. So I'm going to put this back here in the Tsaritsa Woods. As Jester's stopping by, how goes the war? This was a very tough game and you got rid of it. Let's put it this way, Jester. If Hitler saw how I was handling Stalingrad here, he probably would have had me shot. Let's put it that way. 11 supply points, though. I'll also say that I've pretty much made peace with the fact that Hitler was a complete idiot when he went after the Soviet Union when he did, without knocking Britain totally out first. Yeah. What to do, what to do. Let's see, with 11 supply points left, the question is, where do I think I'm attacking this round? And we're probably going to try to do some... I think we're going to try to do a little bit of urban attacking, so I'm going to need an air support for that. And I think I might only be making 1 or 2 attacks this turn, because I just don't have the logistical support I'm going to need to pull this off. So that brings me down to 8 supply points. As once again I moved the... Oh no. Control is where it should be. Actually, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 14. Yeah, 14. Just checking my control markers. Let's go for... Well, we're going to have at least one mandatory attack. We are going to have to fight down here at Hill 112.5. So I think I want air support for that. So that'll bring me down to 5. I've got 3 units there. So we are going to have a +4 TM. I don't think... Actually, we have done one of those. So I do get one more morale for that. We'll go for an engineer support and an artillery support. That'll bring me down to 2 supply points. And I think that's where we're going to sit tight for the turn. So once again, the commissars are out again. That'll bring us into the combat phase, where I'm going to make... Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to deal with Hill 112.5, and I believe that's a mandatory attack since everything starts with the active area was already contested at the moment of activation. So we are going to make that active. We'll deal with that first. So we've got 10 defense to start with for the Soviets. What units do I want to throw into this? I do need to save at least 1 air support because I'm probably going to do something up here, up at this neck of the woods, way up here, way up to the north. Let's throw air support in here, and I'm going to give engineer support to the 24-26. So we'll start off with a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're starting off dead even again. And now we're rolling a d6 for our air support. A 5. Okay, that's not nothing. So that'll bring us down to 5. And then the fanatic once again changes success to a stalemate unless we can get an overrun out of it. So an overrun, we need to win this by at least 5, and we currently are. Unfortunately, 10 plus 6 is 16, 5 plus 7 is 12, so we do succeed, but because it wasn't an overrun, that changes it to a stalemate, and we're stuck here. Delightful. Okay, so the other attack that I want to make, that comes off, by the way. Yeah, we're going to make the... I wish it was the attacking area you made active. So we're going to make Orlovka the active space. We'll move the 60th Infantry and the 60th truck unit in. So our light urban unit here, we've got a +3 bonus here. It's another frickin' fanatic. So we'll go artillery support, or air support and artillery anyway. So we're starting off with a 5, 8, 9 up there. And what is that? 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got another d6 roll on the air support. A 1, which basically cancels out the commissar. So now we're hoping for a huge dice roll. Let's see if we get anywhere with this. That is basically nothing. Because the 6 plus 8 is 14, 8 plus 5 is 13, so it would have been a success, but the fanatic changes that to a stalemate. So we're all stuck there. This game is on your table 2, third time playing it. Morning, Extra Squeaky. Hopefully you're enjoying it. I was going to say hopefully you're enjoying it more than I am, but I kind of am enjoying it-ish, yet to find a good strategy to tackle it. Yeah. My first impression is this one is brutal, and I imagine Manila is going to be more of the same. I've tentatively got that. I tentatively have that on the calendar for 2 weeks out, but I don't know. I might reschedule. I might move that. I haven't decided yet. The question is, do I want to try to make one more attack here? And I think the answer to that is going to be no. So we're going to go into the end phase. I think my problem is I'm realizing I'm starting to get a little bit too picky about how I'm attacking. I want to have as much support as I can for these attacks to give myself the best chance of surviving. So we've got the dawn phase where we go to turn 6, random event phase. Can we please, please, please not have the commissars out again? Nine says yes. Wunderbar. Supply, and we've got 2 supply points that we banked from last turn. Well, at least nobody's out of action this turn. What is that? 12, 15... no, 12 and 5 is 17, plus 2 is 19. So it's not totally nothing. It's just mostly nothing, but we're definitely running out of time here. So 19 supply points says that's going to be 3 air support. That'll bring me up to 10. I'm probably going to need some engineer support. So let's go at least 2 of those. That'll bring me down to 6. And I think this track too, this track of how everything is being, I think this track of how you're keeping track of everything, your morale, your supply, all of that. I'm not the biggest fan of the world, just because we got so many dials floating around. I'd probably grab various dials to track all of that. But I see what they're going for here. So that's down to 6. Let's go a pair of artillery support. So that's bringing me down to 4. And I think that is where I'm going to sit tight. So we're going into the combat phase next. Well, we're stuck with fanatics in very bad places for them to be. So I think, are we going to send in some reinforcements to try to clear some of this mess out? Problem with the game, you need to be fast to reach the goals before the game ends, but if you attack too recklessly, you won't have troops left soon. Yeah, that's what I'm finding here. There's got to be a happy medium here. There's got to be a happy medium between too cautious and too reckless. There's that Goldilocks spot, and I have a feeling I'm going to be too much in the too cautious spot. And like I said, it doesn't help that we've gotten bogged down with some fanatics here in the later stages. Well, actually, we're probably in the midpoint of the game, as we're on turn 6. I think we are going to make the... I think we're going to make Gorodische active. We'll try to send in some reinforcements to deal with this fanatic. So we've got a 9 for the Soviets. And now that we've got 4 units, we can send in... We can send in some air support, which I will do without a second thought. Then we'll go engineer and artillery. And I think that should be enough to at least clear that fanatic out. So 8 and 9 plus 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then we'll get a D6 roll and hope for a high roll. I'll have to play Concordia again with the expansions. Have fun with the fan and see you later. I'll try to stop by a little bit. I'll try to stop by once I get done here, Jester. So have fun with Concordia when you get there. But let's see what our air support roll gets up to here. Okay, that's a 6. That is far from nothing. So that'll bring this fanatic down to 3. So we can potentially clear this fanatic out. But let's see what we get. We need an overrun to clear them out. Which, that should be an overrun, even for terrible rolling. 10 plus 3 is 16. 3 plus 7 is 10. That will be an overrun, so that'll clear that fanatic out. That'll put down a control marker. Up here in this mess, all of this support goes away, and man alive. That all flips over. Gross, gross, gross. The good thing is Stalingrad is a fast game and doesn't drag on for hours. Yeah, it definitely feels like it's got a quick flow to it, even if I'm taking a little bit more time cussing and swearing, or worse, multiple sessions. Yeah, that would be the big problem that I would have with some of these games, is I don't like them stretching into multiple sessions if I can avoid it. Where's the block I was using? There we are. So I want to try to take out this fanatic. The problem is we've very much gotten bogged down here. Yeah, we're going to take out this... We're going to try to take out this fanatic. Let's go air support. Do I want to go double air in here? Yeah, that's a tough fanatic. I want to try to go double air and take him out. And then we'll go artillery and engineer. All right, so he's starting off with a, what is that, 7, 9, 10. Let's see, we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We don't get the bonus. We don't get the divisional integrity bonus, so that's 12. But we do get 2d6 rolls for air support to try to take this fanatic out. This is not the time to roll boxcar, or not the time to roll snake eyes, I should say. We don't want to see snake eyes. Boxcars we'd accept without a second thought. Okay, a 7 is not nothing. So that'll bring that down to 3, which means right now if our dice hold, we are overrunning this fanatic. But let's see if we can pull it off. Okay, yeah, that'll get us there. So 12 plus 12 is 24. 3 plus 5 is 8, so we do manage to overrun the fanatic. Unfortunately, that took out everything I was going to use for other attacks. But we do at least get that hill. So that's everything there. We place another control marker, which brings us up to 15 controlled zones. But that will do it for our turn. Obviously no automatic victory, so we'll flip all of these over. We get all of these dice off the board. Decreased morale, so now we're at 10, which means now I need to have an eye on swapping those in, and now we are at turn 7 for the dawn phase, and we've got new reinforcements coming in. We've got the 100th Division, and where do these go? Rule 6.1.1 for placement. So the 100th Infantry Division and 245B Assault Gun. Oh, I shouldn't have had that out earlier. Oh, 245B. I forgot to put that down here. So those can be placed on... So those can be placed on Area 1, 2, or 31 and 32 if those are controlled. So basically out of the way. That's delightful. Well, I think we're going to put everything down on Zone 1, Hill 126.3. Random event phase. These commissars have been bogging us down most of this game. Let's see if they're going to continue bogging us down. 10? They are. Supply phase. We got 4 that we banked. And we're getting another 19 supplies, so that'll bring us up to 23. So 23 supply points. Fortunately, we don't have anything out of action that we would have to... Wait a minute. Did I miss something? No, I was panicking for a second. These extra units must be part of... Yep, the factory district scenario. So it's a smaller scenario. Okay, I was panicking about that for a second there. Ugh. Let's see. So, 23 supply points. Problem is, I think we've gotten very bogged down here. So, we definitely need to get moving. So I think we're going to try to clear. We're going to try to do some movement along the south end of the map. So I'm going to pick up at least 1 air support. That'll bring me down to 20. Let's go all 3 of those again. So that'll bring me to 14 supply points. We should be at 16 zones controlled, I think. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 19. So 19 zones controlled. That's kind of what I'm getting out of that as well, Troy. That extra squeaky does really like this game. I'm definitely seeing the difficult vibe in this one, though. That is for sure. Let's go 3 engineer support. So that'll be another 6. That'll bring me down to 8 supply points. 4 more artillery. So that'll bring me down to 5. Oop. Supply to 5. Even more if you ever manage to beat the game. Yeah. I can definitely see how this one's going to be a nightmare to get through, though. And I think that's where we're going to bank them. So let's go into the combat phase next. Let's start by making Razgulyayevka Station active. We'll try to move over into the state farm. I'm tempted to make an insurance joke, but I think I'll pass on that. What I will do, though, is I'll see about taking this little piece of the chit off. So let's find out what we've got for clear. So we've got 1 plus, actually we've got 2. 1 for the defense bonus, 1 for the commissar. And we've got heroes, so we've got 6 to start with for the Soviets. Let's see, what did the heroes say? Heroes reduce German morale by 1 after combat resolution, and ignore if it's an overrun, if it's a repulse or an overrun. So is this worth wasting a... Well, I was going to say it's probably not worth wasting an air support on, but if we're reducing morale by 1 and we're going to end up shaken after this, well, we're definitely going to throw some support into this. So we're going to throw artillery and engineer behind the 60 RCN. That'll be our lead unit. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about the heroes here. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 because morale is still high enough. So right now we are overrunning these heroes, but let's see if that lasts. Last time you got 32. Last time extra squeak you got 32 areas minus 8 from the goal. Yeah, I think I was looking at it and it looks like the goal is to get. I think I saw the goal was to get 40 markers. Was to get 40 areas. I've got the rule book right here. If every area on the map is controlled. So presumably it is 40. But let's see what happens here. Yeah, well, actually, it looks like it's actually... Well, there's 50 zones, but it looks like 10 start out as German-controlled. So, I'm rambling. Let's see how this... Okay, we get the overrun there. So, 13 plus 12 is 25. 6 plus 4 is 10. So we take out the heroes. Which also means we get to ignore the morale. We also get to ignore the morale reduction. But everything's spent. We'll get German control for that. And that'll bring me up to 20 German controlled areas. Let's see, where to next? We've got another fanatic that's bogging us down here, so I'll make Hill 112.5 my active zone next. We'll move them into Stalingradsky Airport. Okay, so we can get all of these dice down here. This will probably be worth an air support. Then we'll go engineer artillery as well. So 6. Okay, let's designate the dice. 5, 6, 7, 8 because the commissars are out again. 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13 for divisional integrity. 14 because morale is still just barely high enough. Which means we currently are overrunning the fanatics there, but let's see what a d6 roll does for the defense value. That's a 5, so that is far from nothing. That'll bring that down to a 3. Which means the air support's done. So now we can calculate. So now let's roll the attack. And we need an overrun, or else the fanatics are going to keep us pinned down there. Oop, come here. Well, it might still be high enough. 14 plus 7 is 21. 3 plus 9 is 12. So yeah, we get an overrun, which means we get rid of the Soviet fanatics. We'll put a control marker there. That'll bring me to 23 controlled zones. These are all flipped to spent. And we're done with those. What do we want to do next? Let's go make Menina active and we'll move up to the southern rail station. We'll see what we find here in the light urban. We find more fanatics. So we're about to get bogged down again. 10 is our starting defense value there. This is definitely getting at least one air support. Let's go with an artillery support on the 29 RCN as well. So we'll go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 because of divisional integrity, 13 because morale is still just barely high enough. So 13 there. Oop. There we go. 1 and 3, so 13. Roll a d6 for the air support to see what we can reduce the Soviet fanatic strength by. A 5, far from nothing, so we get to bring that down to 5. Which means as of now, we are overrunning that fanatic. So let's see if the dice are going to continue to cooperate on that front. They will, from the looks of it. 13 plus 10 is 23. 5 plus 7 is 12, so we will overrun the fanatic. Which means we put a German-controlled marker down here, going up to 24 controlled zones, but everything is spent there. Let's see, one more attack potentially. Let's make the Dzerzhinsky Tractor Factory our active zone. We'll move them into the sports park. Finding light urban here, we find another fanatic. So we're basically guaranteed to bog down here. Air support and artillery support on the 245. Okay, so 7, 10, 11. Yeah, that's called problematic. So 11 for the Soviets. 2, 4, 6, 7 for the Germans. So we're very much at a disadvantage, which means we have to hope for a high roll on both the air support and a high roll for us and a low roll for them on combat. The one barely did anything. So now we're hoping for a huge roll for us, tiny roll for them. Ugh. Yowza. That is not the direction of the roll I had in mind in the slightest. 7 plus 6 is 13. 10 plus 9 is 19. So we get repulsed, which means we eliminate the 245A. Reduce morale by 1, so now we're shaken. And he retreats. We're spent. And that's going to be the end of the turn. End phase, obviously nothing happening there. So now we go to the dawn phase of turn 8. We'll flip everything over. Rolling for the random event. Which a 13. Holy cow, it's actually something different. Because a 13 this time is logistical pause. Roll a d6, select that number of areas containing German units, and flip all of them to spent. I don't know why I'm re-rolling a 6, but it's the first die I grabbed. Please roll low, please roll low, please roll low. And you didn't roll low, that's a 4. So we pick 4 areas and flip them all to spent. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yikes. That did not work at all for us. So now we're into the supply phase. We banked 5 supply points from last turn. And we do not get that many points this time. So 5 and 6 is 11. And the 5 we banked earlier is 16. We should be at 20, I think 20. Let me count the number of zones I've got. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19, 21. So 21 zones is what I should be at. 16 supply points. So I need 3 to bring the field gun, to bring a panzer division back. He will go... he's going to go down here to try to help out with maybe clearing out something in Tsaritsa City. We'll go for an air support for 3. We'll go 2 engineer supports for 4 total. That'll bring me down to 6. And we'll take 2 artillery supports as well to go down to 4. I think we're probably only making the 1 attack this turn. I've got my pink cube right here. Yes, we're going to make the Tsaritsa Woods active, and we'll try to clear out Tsaritsa City. So we've got the heroes there. They've got a defense strength of... So actually, the Commissar's effectively... The Commissar's bonus is effectively replaced by the fact that our morale is shaken at this point. So we've got a 12, we've got a 13 to contend with there in Tsaritsa City. So 13. Alright, we're definitely going to put an air support in there. Let's go engineer artillery and artillery. Okay, so we've got that's a heroes, which heroes reduce German morale by 1. So we definitely need the overrun here. So we've got 13 there, 7, 9, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16. So a 16 because we don't get the morale bonus anymore. And we roll a d6 to see how much the air support does. A 5. So the Luftwaffe is actually able to do some damage. Unfortunately, as of now, we're not overrunning the heroes. Let's see if we can change that with a die roll. We are leading by 8 coming into this. Oy vey. So the heroes, so we do actually get rid of the heroes at least. Actually, I think we do. That's 19. And 8 for us is 24. So yes, we do get rid of the heroes at least. But the heroes reduce German morale by 1. So we're down to 8 morale. But we get to move everything in. Unfortunately, our units are all spent. Okay. So, do we want to make one more attack this turn? Yikes. Yeah, I think we're going to have to... Well, we're going to be going up to the... potentially the grain elevator against the Volga River, which I think gave it another +1 defense bonus because it's adjacent to the Volga. I saw something about that, I thought. There was something I was seeing there. about adjacent to the Volga. Maybe I'm imagining that. Defense factor. Yeah, I must be imagining that because I thought I saw something about that, but apparently I'm blind about that. So I think we are going to go ahead and go into the grain elevator. So we're actually going to make the southern rail station our active zone. We'll send everything in. But we've got a +4 here, plus another fanatic. So we're about to get bogged down again. So that's a 14 to start with for the Soviets. The fanatic changes successes to stalemates. So we're definitely going to throw support in behind this, and we're going to have to hope for a very high die roll. So 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 for divisional integrity. So that's a 16 that we've got to start with to a 14 for the Soviets. Unfortunately, we are very much not winning this by... We need to win this by at least 10 to get rid of that fanatic, or we're basically looking at a game over and on turn 9. Which that'll turn into a success because 16 and 8 is 24, 10 and 8, or 14 and 7 is 21. So that is a success, but that will turn into a stalemate because of the fanatic's special ability. So everything there is spent. And I think it's bothering me a little. I think it's actually bothering me a little bit too that some of these map spaces are actually pretty small. So that'll be it for the combat phase. Going into the end phase, we'll get everything ready. And we are going to have a withdrawal coming up. I've already reduced German morale. Everything over here. Okay, so turn 9, and we've got our withdrawal. Everything in the 29th division is coming out. So 6.1.2 says... Right, remove the 4 units of the 29th motorized. Oh, jeez. Well, that takes care of having to deal with the fanatics. Because we don't have anybody down there to deal with them anyway. Joy of all joys, right? Just when our problems couldn't get any worse. Lady Luck says, well, actually probably more history says, hold my beer. And let's see what we're doing in the random event phase. That's an 8. Logistical pause again. So we're rolling a d6, select that number of units, and flip everything over to spent. A 6. Let's see if I have. Let's see if I have more than 6 zones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, actually 8. 8, 9, 10. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we banked 4 supply points. Yeah, I don't think we're winning this one, folks. Just in case you had any doubts about that. Let's see, what is that? 8, 9, 11 supply points plus 4 is 15. Let's see, 15 supply points, and I think we're making it most... Oh yeah, we got bogged down in a hurry. Yeah. Let's see, 15 supply points. I think at this point we're basically down to making spite attacks. Just to say F you. So we're gonna go air support, at least one air support. Actually, 2 air support. Two engineer support. 2 artillery support. And I think that's it. So we're at most making... Yeah, we're at most making spite attacks here. So I think we will make Tsaritsa City active, and we'll move into Ferry Landing. We'll see what's here for the Soviets in a light urban space. They have heroes here, so heroes. So yeah, we're in supply phase, now we're in combat phase. Heroes reduce German morale by 1. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because our morale is shaken. Let's see, we'll try to overrun this. This is, like I said, this is an ultimate spite attack. So 2, 3, 4. And I think I forgot to roll Bloody Streets, since they would have been... Yeah, Bloody Streets would have been... Okay, for each contested light and heavy earth. Well, actually, I know we had hill contested, so we wouldn't have rolled there. Alright, now let's tally up our attack strength. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And 14's all we get. And I did factor in the shaken bonus for the Soviet heroes. But we get 2d6 to see how much we reduce the... Came to hate all Soviet defense types. Heroes, fanatics. Yeah, that's not real hard to do. We reduce the heroes' defense strength by 5, so they go down to 7. Which isn't completely nothing. But let's see what we can do here. This will almost certainly be our only attack, because we're going to call it a game here at this point. That might be enough for an overrun, actually. 14 plus 6 is 20. 7 plus 3 is 10. So yeah, that is enough for an overrun, which means we take out the Soviet heroes. Everything gets removed. We flip these all to spent. Get a control marker there. Go up to 23 controlled spaces. But I think that is going to be it. So we're at the end phase of turn 9. So a final victory check is made, and yeah. If automatic victory has not been... They control at least one heavy urban... It's at least one heavy urban area, and the German controlled markers are 40 or greater. Which we did get the heavy urban area because we did get the Dzerzhinsky tractor factory, and 40 or greater. No, we didn't pull that off. We only got to 20. We only got to 20 something zones. So we definitely lost the game, and that'll do it for this playthrough of Stalingrad Advance to the Volga. Whoo boy, that was intense, to put it mildly. Enjoyed the game, but man alive was it a challenging one. And I imagine Manila is going to be more of the same. So I think if I'm thinking I'm going to like one, I should like the other. And I didn't enjoy this one. I definitely saw how the tension was coming through of having to figure out, okay, how do you allocate your resources for each of your attacks on a given turn. Obviously, it didn't work out for us this time, but if this were to come to the channel again, which I could see it coming to the channel again, I just need to block off time for it, I'll also want to swap out these dice, I'm thinking, because I only generally like these smaller 12 millimeter dice as like ticker dice during a season replay. But admittedly, that's a minor gripe on how everything goes there. I'm also rambling at this point, so let's go ahead and wrap this video up. As for what all is scheduled on the channel, Wednesday we're playing, what are we playing Wednesday? We've got another new debut on the channel, as we're playing American Tank Ace by Compass Games. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will continue out of the unofficial Harry Potter cookbook as we make the side hot rolls. Next week, we are going back to Compass Games once again as we're playing Ostkrieg, another Eastern Front game. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications to get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.